Recording in progress.
All right, looks like we got everybody in here. I'll keep an eye on the waiting room if anyone else is looking to jump in. But thank you all for joining this morning. For those who don't know me or we haven't met yet, my name is Josh Ingham, Assistant Athletic Director at the University of St. Joseph. Also on the call, obviously, Coach Calhoun, and also available for questions from USJ, our Dr. Rona Free, University President, as well as Amanda Devitt, our Athletic Director. Last thing, you guys are accustomed to this, but please remain muted, and then use the raise the hand function if you'd like to ask a question, and I'll kind of moderate and go around and call on you to ask a question. First question after Coach's opening statement. We'll start with Dom if you have one. But floor is yours, Coach, if you'd like to start with opening statement, and we'll open up for questions and go from there.
Yeah, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining. Just simply put, everybody says timing in life is very important, and that for some have told me it's an unusual time. People were very kind, but kind of concerned about health, and actually that is one of the reasons, because I feel good. My wife, Pat, feels good. It's a great time for us as we look into the future, and we do look into the future, of us coming to St. Joe's, which has been an incredible time with Amanda joining, and certainly with Rona Free, who's the main reason I'm there to coach and to teach and be with kids. There's a sadness to it, but the sadness is a different kind of sadness. I'm just proud of what we've been able to accomplish, proud of the growth in facilities, enrollment, enthusiasm on campus, and obviously the basketball team. And those kids have been with us. A lot of them have been with us for all 4 years. We've been here, going to our 5th year that I've been on campus with Glenn Miller. And very simply put, I thought it was a good time, because it wasn't a good time after the pandemic. We wanted to make sure that everybody stayed. The kids who should be coming back, getting their education, finishing their degree, et cetera. And quite frankly, it was really important that we touch base with how we're going to go forward through this incredibly historic time. Well, we got through it, and by September, October, and I cleaned up a little bit health-wise, and things were fine. And as we get into the season, I realized in our preseason number 9 ranking would indicate that we're a good basketball team. We've had some injuries, and we're not quite there. But as we started to play, I realized, we're winning games. We're 4 or 5 kind of 2 exhibitions and 3-0. Beating 2 good teams, Alvernia particularly, and let Babson the other night. Now facing Tufts tomorrow, and I just thought we were in great shape. Our kids are getting better. We haven't even played our best yet. I've got a great guy in place, and Glenn Miller. I've got my son Jeff, and I got Ryan, and I got Steve Laffin, graduate assistant. We're in good shape. We're in really good shape, and no better time to leave a place. Not when you're losing, not when things are going bad, but when you're in great shape. And I think we are. And I know we are, matter of fact, and with Rona and Amanda's leadership, it'll continue to be even great with Glenn coaching. And it'll be kind of seamless, because he's been doing an awful lot of things together. He's been a co-coach more than anything else, not an assistant. And with that said, I thought it's a good time for Pat and I to kind of enjoy part of our life when we feel great, can do things. We plan to be going to Hilton Head, and futuristically, I'm going to talk to Rona, President Free, about this, about maybe doing something in St. Joe's and another capacity, maybe tie in with athletics, different things that we can do. We want to grow. So there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of things we want to do. But bottom line, it's been an incredible experience. I will not cut ties with St. Joe's in any way. As a matter of fact, I got my St. Joe's shirt on today. And so just to let you know, I'm not going to cut ties. But but we are going to take some time, Pat and I, with the holidays coming up, down to Hilton Head with my wife, Pat. All these kids that take care of, the kid I should take care of a lot is Pat and my family. And so we're doing that. Not that they didn't enjoy our association. And by the way, I'm not necessarily ending any association with anybody. I still have my office at St. Joe's. And right now, I'm very thankful that I am healthy, that Pat's healthy, and that we're going to continue on with our life. And I assume that without a definitive, that St. Joe's will be part of that.
All right, Dom, if you have
Yeah. Yeah, Jim, I just wanted to ask you, you mentioned that you got quite a few kids who've been with you the whole 4 years. And I know that, obviously at UConn, maybe preparing guys for an NBA career was a lot of focus. Here, you're preparing kids for a different type of post-college life. I'm wondering, have you had the kind of impact that you hope to have, or that you wanted to have on the kids who came to play for you? I'm looking at kids from Hartford, from Prince Tech, et cetera, that are going to be maybe getting college degrees soon. What kind of impact do you feel like you've had on the kids who've come to play for you?
Well, I think the school has understood two things. They understood, number one, us having males. I think that's really important. We integrated the campus because of, into a whole different kind of society and a great culture. I think it's important for the school going forward. I think for our kids, I've already told them, and I've got up at my desk my card with my home number and my number. They can always call me, and maybe I won't be too far away. Maybe I'll still be physically around St. Joe's. More importantly, a lot has been accomplished. It really has been. It's hard for me to see sometimes the forest for the trees. I really love these kids, and it's been great. Now, you've heard me say this 1,000 times. From a competitive standpoint, they want to win too, and their coach really wants to win. And that being said, I've watched them grow. We have, I think, 7 or 8 honors students out of our 17 kids. That's incredible. We have Brad Landry's not playing now because he's on an internship. That's the price of not going to the NBA, the price of having your life start up. And this summer, I know that our captain, Jake Sullivan, had an internship in Indiana. And so all those kind of things are coming together. And then a lot of the kids are finding responsibility. I must tell them every single day, hey, education is not free. What you get out of it is going to pay an awful lot for you. And whether it be, you're right, kids from Prince Tech, kids who maybe wouldn't have been exposed to a St. Joe's in the past, we've really made them an integral part of what we do. We want to continue to do that. We'd like to be someday, the Hartford place to go. And I very simply think that the school particularly, and I know Amanda's adding a new academic advisor who's a guy from the city, he's in Bloomfield, getting his master's, starting to pursue a PhD, young guy, and of color, which I think makes it better for our kids to relate to about he went through some of the same things they're going through. So the examples we're setting are great. And I couldn't be prouder of watching some of our kids. One of our kids, Kumar, last year, is playing for Westfield State. We didn't have a master's program here. My point being, to see that, pursuing his master's degree, some of the other kids, it is so fulfilling. As you say, they're not going to be donning NBA uniforms. They're going to be donning something much more, a meaningful life and occupations later.
So we'll go to Pat from Associated Press.
Hey, Coach, you've left your mark, obviously, on 3 separate schools now. And I wonder what you're most proud of, not just in terms of basketball, but in terms of these universities. What do you feel you've accomplished in terms of growing them, and what will you be most proud of when you look back?
Well, I think the biggest thing, Pat, is that each school was in a different place. Northeastern was Division II. We went to the Division I. UConn was a solid 12. We used to call it the 8-9 game all the time. You remember that? And we changed. And in the meantime, as we changed, and as women's basketball and other things changed, and brought us national attention, UConn, as you know, has changed fiscally and facility-wise. UConn doesn't even look like the same school. I'm very proud of what's happened there. And at St. Joe's, I can almost say the same thing, with 2 gyms now, with a beautiful soccer, lacrosse field, cafeteria, and other plans in the making. We're going to have more news later about different things we're doing. All that stuff is, to be part of it, it's really special. If in our basketball program, the kids that we coach had a lot to do with that, I couldn't be more proud. But I just think of names like Ray Allen or Reggie Lewis at Northeastern. Now you're talking about J.C. Martin, Delshawn Jackson. And to me, and I've told the kids 1,000 times this, there is no great difference. I mean this honestly. I always make the joke about the pay. The Catholic poverty, expecting us all to do the same. I'll take that vow of poverty, but that's a joke, because what we're doing at St. Joe's is really important. I mean, really, really important. I've seen the change in culture. If you walk through our cafeteria at noontime, it's buzzing. I mean, those are great things for a school that at one time was a community school. So watching the change The wins are nice, and as a competitor, as you know, when they throw the ball up, I'm ready to go. But I think at this particular time, I'm not a great guy to look back all the time, and I still want to hopefully help going forward, whether it be at UConn, whether it be at certainly at St. Joe's, because we have a lot more things we want to do, and I'm really proud of watching these institutions because of us being the kind of a front porch to have draw people to us. I think it's a great thing. I remember with the ESPY thing last year that brought so much more attention to a great school. We're shooting baskets, but more importantly, we're hopefully drawing people into a special place St. Joe's is. And that's that, I think a lot about that. I mean, I was last night late talking to Ben Good, and I just talked to Rip, and I can give you all those things. That makes me very proud. And I'll be doing that the same with my St. Joe's kids. And I think that's really important. At the games, some of my kids from Dedham High School where I coached, some of my Northeastern guys show up. Those things are really meaningful to me. Those are much more important than any trophy that later will be cracked, get dust on it. Those memories are great. And I've had a great experience at St. Joe's, and I didn't even know what direction we're going to go there for me personally, but regardless, it's a special place, and I enjoy being there.
Gavin, new one today.
Hey, Jim. Tom Moore once said about you that you wake up every morning throwing punches, meaning you kind of enjoy the daily fight, whether it's in practice or for working for a good cause. So what's your daily fight now, Jim, that you're going to take on?
Well, to do one real thing, and this, Gavin, after all the years get together we've been, is Pat. I really think these years she's gone down at Hilton, particularly the last 4 or 5, where first year, 5 years ago, I was doing ESPN, so I could work out of there. But now when I was doing things at St. Joe's, we weren't able to do that. I more than over that, number one. Number two, but I'll find a fight. You know that. I mean, with me is when I put those gloves on, it's going to be a 10 or 12 rounder, and we're ready to go. But the fight may be for more equity for our kids. The idea of educating people about the incredible value that a college education has. Those are fights. And you have to fight, as Rona Free, I'm sure, would attest. Hi, Rona, how you doing? We need that, Jim. Always pushing to get the best for our kids, for our program, and for the institution as a whole. And I truly believe that yeah, fights are small fights, but I still have a lot of charities I'm going to be involved with. But once again, you know me too well, Gavin, to ever tell you, well, I'm just going to pack it up and play a couple rounds of golf. That's not going to happen. I mean, I'll play some rounds of golf, but it won't be packing things up. I still think, and hopefully I do have things to offer. I just thought it was a perfect time for me because this, covering teams over the years as a beat guy, that your life is a schedule. Somebody in my case, from September to March. And I owe my family more than that. Now I can hopefully do both. Help make so many more young people aware. I did it through basketball, but I still can do it through sport and other ways and at an institution. But I really, some of the stories when kids write you back and things happen to them. I mean, having a manager, for example, talked to him a couple of days ago, become the head coach, Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, what? But that's kind of what you hope that the whole thing can be about. And by that, I mean kids who can grow and learn. So, yeah, you're right. You're right. Not with you. You're too good a guy, but I'll pick a fight with somebody, trust me, to make things better for others.
I'm sure you will.
Over to Unqua from Fox 61.
Coach, good morning. I am
morning.
curious with the history that you had at UConn, when you first got to USJ, what was the most unexpected thing about USJ that you kind of came to really come around about from your transition from UConn?
It was small. I could walk campus in 5 minutes, but it's beautiful and small. The thing I discovered when I eventually went to UMass, I dropped out of school, worked at Stonecutter 2 years, and then went to AIC up in Springfield. And it was small. And every professor. And I started to realize that this is a community. And when kids are looking for a community education, and once again, from a cultural, academic standpoint, they can know their professor, see him at lunch, different kind of things. From a basketball thing, it didn't look like Gamble Pavilion or the XL Center. I agree. I knew Jim is cool. But as much as anything else, the greatest thing I learned? Our kids want to win too. They want to win basketball games, and hopefully in the process, as we teach them, they want to win in life. These kids don't have kind of the ticket that some of our kids at UConn. You know, on the average team at UConn, over the past 15 years I was there, 3 guys went to the NBA off each team. Some with duplicates, obviously. And then mostly, I would bet 6, I think it was, kids then played overseas or something. Here it's different. We may have occasionally a kid who can. We had a kid transfer who now is Chris Charles, who now averaging 14 points a game at Bryant. And that's great that he's able to get a full scholarship. But my point being, it's the same. The game's the game. The kids are the kids, trust me. People said they're too old. If you coach them, you'd call them kids too, because they are kids. You were talking about, and you went through that, I'm sure. But my point being, simply, it's amazing, you know, how we, it's the same sadness after a tough loss in our locker room as it was at UConn. And it's the same joy when we have a great win. And I think that's important because the bonds they're going to make through athletics and the university, especially any place, and anybody who's played athletics, I don't care, it's high school, wherever you played, you know those guys, you guys. And that's really important. Other families that they'll have the rest of their lives.
Coach, thanks and congrats again.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Howard, Berkshire Eagle.
Okay, hey Jim, when you first started, did you have any preconceived notions about Division III basketball writ large? And in your time, what have you learned about the coaches that you coached against and the players you played against?
Yeah, I don't know if I had preconceived notions. It was a game to me. You know, one of the great trips I ever took in my life, I was coaching in a hockey town in Dedham, Massachusetts, not far from where I grew up. And I still remember we were 18-0, undefeated in the Bay State League, Framingham, Natick, you know, big school towns at Dedham. And tried that ride when the police, fire engines were waiting for us at the town line as we come in on an 18-0 spread. That was special. And I guess I'm one of those, I don't seem like a romantic, but I'm a romantic in the sense of what I see, the joy that you can get out of accomplishment. And I truly believe, honestly, that the guys in Division III are they can coach. Matter of fact, think about this. They a lot of times don't have quite as much talent. They make up for it in technique, in adjustments, double teams, all the different things that they do. And, you know, the kids on their team want to win just like we do. I think that's, you know, psychologically, I mean, I knew, but I didn't know. To see how much, I've had kids break down crying after games, I mean, not just someone from a Northeastern team or certainly a UConn team. So, you know, I was educated. I like what you said because I was educated more just, you know, those guys playing for the same reason, to see which side of the scoreboard they're on, left or right. And I think that, and then with our case, I mean, it's really important, as you would well imagine, that our kids aren't going to go on to some of the basketball futures other kids of mine have had, but the future of their life, and I think becomes very important. But as I said, I've lost one player this year. He's on an internship. That didn't happen in UConn. kids, you know, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And I mean, I've got, you know, these 4.5, 5 years have been great joy for me. And once again, I'm not disappearing from the face of the earth. As Gavin said, I'll find a fight for tomorrow to fight. But I just need to give more time to my family, take my wife, and maybe, you know, take a big, large breath and find something else to fight, because that's kind of who I am. Not kind of, that's who I am.
Are you ready to take Procopio's lunch money on the golf course?
Well, it's the only guy, I can very honestly, Paul's one of the great friends I've ever had, one of the dearest friends, like a brother to me. We talk quite a bit. And he's such a good guy. He's one of the few people in the world that I don't like to beat. Because he's, you know, I read about that with him. He's just too giving, caring guy. That was my college roommate.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
Let's see. Dom, you said your hand raised. You have a follow-up?
Yeah, I just want to, Jim, do you plan to be a presence at UConn going forward? Maybe go to some games or?
Yeah, I really haven't talked about. I have season tickets, and, you know, and that's a good question. That's I've had a few phone calls from people from UConn, and you know, once again, if I can go something and have purpose, that's all I want, Tom. You understand that. Like you and I've talked about a lot of different things, writing columns or me coaching back. And I do think that you wouldn't want to do your job if you're just a note taker. You want to contribute. And any place I go, respect is one thing. I don't want to tell Jim Mora how to coach, and I don't want to think about ever telling Danny or anybody else there. But I mean, I do have a 30-year association with the school. And so I may become more a presence, but a lot of it's got to do with really, you know, where can I fit comfortably and as a resource, not as a vulture overlooking to see what's not going on there. That's not ever where I want to be. I have no desire. I'll tell you right now, I'm sure that Glenn will do a great job with me. I have no desire ever to have Glenn feel. He's already said to me, I need you to be around to talk to. And that is a perfect role for me. And the UConn thing, we'll see. You know, I've had a couple of phone calls over the last 2 days talking about that. So, you know, I think everything's open right now. I really do. But once again, just like Gavin was saying, some of us have been together a long time. You kind of know me. You don't think I'm going to we'll go to Hilton Head for a while, but I'm not going to go into a closet any place. I'm not going to get up every day, have coffee, and then that's not who I can or will be. But I as long as I feel like I do right now, there's no reason for me to not be doing something purposeful every single day.
Quad, you have a follow-up?
I do, and this one's actually for Dr. Free and also Ms. Devitt. Neither of you can answer this. In terms of, there's obviously been a lot of conversation about the role that the men's basketball team has played in the growth of the university. But as far as specific goals, what are some things that were really accomplished outside of fundraising that you're proud about Coach Calhoun being a part of?
Do you want me to start? Yeah.
Sure.
So thank you very much. What a great question about what they've accomplished. And you can see, like Coach touched on, his team has a diverse background. So we have students from the city of Hartford, and we have students from other areas. And he's really touched on honor students, students that are coming to college, first generation college students. He's given them a chance and allowed them to be successful, not only on the basketball court, but in the classroom, and really guided them to whatever they want to do after this, especially through COVID. And that's such a hard time for any college student. He's always there for them. He's their mentor, and always their number one fan. And so for me and my time here and working with Coach, it's really been an honor to see him and how he's really advocated for his student athletes.
So I'll add that when we first talked to Jim, it was with the idea that we realized that as an institution becomes coeducational, you need to do something to get noticed. And how is the best way to go about that? And so we realized that bringing in a Hall of Fame coach who shared our values would be a great way to accomplish that. And so we were able to achieve in 1 year, the increase in enrollment that we had been planning to accomplish in 5 years. So it was that big increase in enrollment, not just with men though, but we were able to draw more women onto campus. And since he's been here, he's been a great advisor. And I think he those same skills that he uses to recruit students, that relentless, creative approach, he uses when he works with anyone, realizing what the institution he feels it needs to do. And I think has inspired confidence in all of us, in our board, that we could attract enough attention and enough students that we needed a new gym, new student health services, renovated dining hall. So I think it's been far beyond just the impact of the basketball team. It got us that recognition that we needed as we move to become co-educational.
Thank you both.
Gabby, NBC Connecticut.
Hey, question for Coach Calhoun. When we talked to you when you first took on this coaching role, we asked, are we going to see the same fiery coach that we're used to seeing at UConn, that we're used to seeing arguing with refs? It came out a little bit. We saw that from time to time. But how did you get maybe a different perspective in being on the sidelines in a smaller gym where, wins and losses still on the line, stakes still high, but just a different perspective in the last few years of that kind of environment?
Well, achievement never is easy, and it's always on the line. My idea, if we say it here at St. Joe's all the time, win the day. So I'm winning the day, maybe a little different, less firebrand moments. You remember when I started coaching, particularly at UConn, it was against legendary coaches like John Thompson, Rick Pitino, Louis Conn-Second. These are all Hall of Fame coaches. And it was fire at fire all the time. And I think that at St. Joe's, yeah, there's fire there because I'd be not doing the right things by my kids. I treat my kids, I keep saying kids, I know, but once again, if you coach them, you'd call them kids too, by the way. So point being is that I think you get better perspective because when I say a kid, coach, you know, how much am I going to play this year? Well, you'll be in a backup role, like a chance to take an internship. That's a different kind of thing that I ever had in my previous 40 years of coaching. And so I think all those kind of things, it doesn't necessarily mellow you. It just kind of, it changed your perspective a little bit of where the future is for them. The future for Kemba Walker is now with the New York Knicks making millions of dollars. The future for some of our kids is getting a master's degree, getting a PhD, or getting a good job, meaningful job for them, coaching themselves, social work, criminal justice. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different. Not that I didn't want some of my kids, all of my kids to have degrees and do great things from UConn. I did. But most of them had other opportunities of basketball after school. And at St. Joe's, one or two may, but more importantly, it's the same package, maybe kind of served a little different. It's the same dish served different. You know, we're not frying it, we're baking it. And I think you're 100% right though, because the fire wouldn't work all the time. Some of these kids, you know, we have, as I said, when you have 7 or 8 honest students who are carrying a 3-point, I think average 3.6, those kids, you know, they want to win, they want to compete, they want to get in shape, but they also have other aspirations. Moment right then, our other kids at Northeastern and particularly at UConn learned that maybe later for some of them, but it's more of a balancer. That's a good question the more I think about it, and I didn't realize how much I was doing that. If a kid at St. Joe's misses a class, we're a smaller school, we don't have as many that particular course offered at that time, he misses practice. Doesn't mean that we look at it the other way. He comes in late, doesn't work out on his own. It's just you make a lot of adaptations because I'm at a different type of school. I love being there, and my association with the kids, that's never been it. They're still my kids, just like the UConn and Northeastern guys were.
And just to follow that up real quick, there are a lot of coaches who don't want to take on that, you know, watching you be fired up on the sidelines at UConn. Maybe a lot of us couldn't have seen that second act for you in coaching in that more mellow, where you are putting classes first, where you do understand that different speed of things.
No, 100% true. You remember at UConn, in fairness to everybody, I had a full-time academic advisor, full-time, PhD. I had 2 assistants. We had a study hall almost as big as our gym. My point being, there were a lot of people making sure they took care. You know, it was more itemized, but it's a great point. I just think, you don't want to hear my history, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. You know, my dad died at 15, and I went to college, full scholarship. I had to come home and work as a stone cutter for 2 years. I started to learn then what a tough road the whole thing can be. And I just think that I want my kids at St. Joe's, it is more, at least now, more important for them than it is for some of the guys who have more time. At UConn, if a kid wanted to go a 5th year, we extended his scholarship. You know what I'm saying? So different clientele, but no question. When I talked to Dr. Frey, who I admire incredibly, and she went to Notre Dame, which gave her that quote. I kid her about the athletic background of football, but more importantly, you know, people helped me, educate me about reading a book every day when I was a stone cutter and doing things to make yourself better every single day. And that's my job. And it was that job at UConn in a different role in some ways. I still coach, still fiery, but I think the difference is I have a different understanding in a different, it's still the same game, but played differently, I guess the best way to say it.
So Chris, yep. Do you have a question, Chris? No? Oh, I think you're muted.
I'm unmuted. Coach, I'm having flashbacks now to my last game as a D3 player at Easter with Dan Switch and Co. Is this arguably as much fun as you've had as a coach?
You said it right in one thing. I'll tell you what it is, and I'll tell you what it is to some degree. And once again, it isn't quite. It's the same intensity, without the same external pressure. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah.
Because we're fighting for ourselves at St. Joe's. I mean, we're not fighting for NBA contracts. We're not doing, as Kinley said about taking a vow of poverty from the Catholic schools, which I love because I'm Catholic. But my point being, you're doing it to win. I know you were. Dan was a tough guy, I'm sure. And they pushed you like crazy. And you got pushed and were asked to give as much as they did at Division I. But conversely, there are other everyday things preparing you for what you're doing now. And I just think that's the major difference. Money is a problem because unless they have to turn Eastern, that they gave you a full scholarship. You understand what I'm saying? The kids at UConn, though, can go summer schools, can go in a session, can go another year to get their degrees. And Division III, it's a costly thing to try to do that. And yet, I'm sure you want to win just the same things at UConn. Galshawn Jackson wants to win just as much as Kimber Walker did. The difference is that we're in different, not game, but playing field as much as anything else.
Thanks.
And that's the difference. And I'm sure you gave it your best there, and no one ever going to convince you didn't.
Thanks, Coach.
Pat, Associated Press.
Jim, you say you're feeling good now. As much as you're comfortable with, where are you in your latest cancer battle, and how tough has it been to balance this personal fight with giving your all to the kids?
It at times has been. I don't want to be an absentee landlord. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be make a cardboard of me, have me sit on the bench as a cardboard thing, not being there all the time. But I've been able to do, when I first had stomach cancer, I did ESPN, and a few times I was stopped at getting into the machine because I still had a chemotherapy thing I take with me. But I got through that and so on. And when I, it's actually in some ways was better at St. Joe's because I could do certain things. And then when I had operation, which in essence did an awful lot of good things by taking some part of my stomach out, and I'm still being scanned. And right now, thank God, everything is great. And I've had this has been a 5-year battle, but right now everything is completely negative and everything is going great. My point being simply is though, like anything else, you make sacrifices in life. If you love something, you'll make sure, without question, that you'll find a way to get it done. And I have. I spend a lot more time with my players in my office and other different things to tell them about stories. All coaches, as you know, some people call it bullshit. I call it storytelling, and clean it up. But I think you know what I'm talking about. You got to be tell them, well, I was this. When they come out to my house here in Pomfret, they saw trophies in a big yard and all that. So I didn't start here, and I try to tell them those kind of things. I didn't start here, and when I was out working as a stonecutter, I never thought I could live in a place like this. I have a house down in Hilton Head. You know what I'm saying? And those kind of things are different. And people, the young lady was nice enough to say, I saw a different side. Yeah, but all of us have a complex side. And, my fighting instincts, when I coach at St. Joe's, I'm ready to go. Put the gloves on, here we go, 10 rounds. And I've been able to, in a lot of different ways, make sure that, and I've kept my kids in various if anything happened to me physically and otherwise, but I've been there, hopefully there for them. And I think Amanda and Ronan will tell you I have been on Josh, and it's been a battle, but this, I know this, life's a battle. Life's a battle for all of us in a whole bunch of different ways. And I just think I've been very fortunate to be able to go and do what I love and do it. It's kind of a payback because the people helped me when I needed the most. They kicked me out of my town after working as a stonecutter. You got to go back to college. You got to go back. My high school coach was ready to boot me in the butt to get me back. But I was trying to help my family. But once it was cleaned up, my mother was healthy again. My large group of sisters and my brother and stuff, and they made me go back, and it worked out pretty good for me. And I just think I have a chance now to do that almost on an everyday basis at St. Joe's or other places. But St. Joe's has been really, really great. Gift to me to be able to coach again. And it's just the intensity of me coaching. I can't do it easy. It's easy is not the word with me ever, as you know, as well as anybody, but effective and being there for kids. See, I always said I got to please who I work for and then who I'm trying to help, my players. I got to please them. Now, when I'm calling them names, that I'm not exactly pleasing them, but with all that, I want to let them know how much I care about them. And they remember that I get disappointed in them because I think they can all do so much more. And so that's kind of my story. And I have really enjoyed that at St. Joe's. And it's really been really been good because I've had great people around me. I mean, to have the support of people that understand truly what you're trying to do, and what we're all trying to do in the mission here at St. Joe is very important.
All right, best of luck and enjoy your new boss, Pat. So
Thanks.
All right. Go back to Gavin from the day.
Hey, Jim, I know your schedule's still going to be pretty full even in retirement, but is there anything you're looking forward to doing more of, or anything in particular that you want to do?
Yeah, spending time with Pat. I just think it's important. You know, I live quite a bit distance from the school in Quantric to West Hartford, and you're taking those roads, so you know them very well. And very simply, you know, that hour plus drive a day, I don't mind it, by the way. But I do mind leaving at 8 and getting home at 8 every night. I just don't think that's necessarily fair at the stage we're in our life when we both feel good about doing things. So going to Hilton Head with her for the first time in 5 years would be great. Doing other things together, maybe getting up to see some of my grandkids, what they're doing, more time with my sons and stuff. But I still, as you know, as I said, we talked before, I still got to be doing things. But I can do it at my pace, as opposed to having a documented practice schedule at 2 to 4, you know, that type of thing. That's I look forward to Pat and I doing a lot more things together. You know.
And kind of, I know you talked this over with her, but what was her reaction? Kind of, is she skeptical at all that you could jump back into it?
We were saying before, Gab, I got a couple phone calls about people saying, would you be considered doing something like this now? And she said, don't answer it. Don't answer it. No, I you know, a good friend of mine, yours too, I think, George Blaine, with his wife's had some difficulties. My wife has no difficulties, trust me, right now, thank God. But you know, he's down in Falmouth. And really, he said, you know, after her letting me coach for 50 years, I owe her some time too. And I feel the exact same way. I mean, Pat's not, she has family, she has plenty of friends. I don't mean that, but I just think we'll do some quality things together and at our pace, as opposed to the pace of my schedule. That's a better way to do it.
All right, enjoy yourself. I know you will.
All right, thanks, yeah.
All right. Pat, do you have a follow-up or? Not sure if he's gone. Okay. Anyone last kind of chance to jump in?
I just want to say that we are looking forward to continuing to have a relationship with Coach. There are lots of things that he can do for the university, for potential players. And I think he has a potential big role in helping advocate at the state and federal level for policies and legislation that helps college students. That's been a major goal of his, is to provide opportunities for all students to have a college degree. And there are a lot of policy issues where he can use, again, his skills of persuasion and his determination to try to get policies that benefit all college kids and all potential college kids throughout the country. So we're looking forward to having him here as an advisor, as a supporter, helping create opportunities for our students with internships. But I think he has a bigger stage even that he can have an impact on. And I'm hoping that we can work together on that.
I look forward to it, Rona.
Excellent. Coach, any closing remarks or?
No, I just want to thank everybody for asking those questions, because you know what it does to all of us. I think Rona, myself, Amanda, obviously you, Josh. It gives an opportunity to kind of rethink all the things we're doing. Kind of when you have to explain what you're doing, you think about it. And I think what Rona just indicated very simply, we all have a voice because we're there to educate the kids. You know, not just to be accountants or ticket takers in the sense of how they do in their grades, but are they really being educated? Are we creating the proper opportunities for all these kids? We have an obligation to do that. It's the most singularly important thing that we can do is to create opportunities for kids. And I just happen to think that there's so many different ways, whether it be, I happen to be talking to Governor Lamont when you and I did the thing the other day about that. He wants to get, he may be coming to the game, in fact. And I think you know what I'm talking about, Josh. We have a great opportunities, and obviously the one thing I can tell you, every time I put this shirt on that says St. Joe's, I've been very, very proud. And so thanks everybody for coming. Really appreciate the questions, and I'm sure we'll be seeing each other soon.
Great. Coach, thank you. And, you know, from the University of St. Joseph Athletic Department, we can't thank you enough for everything you've done and all the fun we've had with you. And we appreciate your time today. And we wish you and Pat, you know, obviously the best of retirement. Don't be a stranger. You know, come back and we'll say hello again. Thank you all for for joining us today. If anyone has any follow-up questions or needs anything, just shoot me an email. I'll be more than happy to set something up. Again, thanks for your time and best wishes.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks,
everyone.
guys.
Thanks, Coach. All the best.
Appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow, Josh. You're not gonna get rid of me that easy.
Can't wait, Coach.